Alright, here's the checkpoints from yesterday. Just want to go over them. I did them already for you, but I just want to go over them, make sure everybody's okay with what we're doing here. Alright, so on this first one, again, you had to pull off the A, which is 1, the B, which was -2, and the C, which is -4. Alright, you just put them in the formula. So negative B, which is -2, plus or minus square root B, which is -2 squared. Notice it's in parentheses. Minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is -4, all over 2 times A, which is 1. So again, I just plugged everything into the formula. Alright, so a -2 gave me a +2, plus or minus, and then square root. And then I put over 2 times 1 is 2. Now I left that blank, alright, and then I did the discriminant, alright, which is this stuff under here, up here. So -2 squared gave me +4, 4 times 1 times -4 gave me -16, so I had minus a -16, which became +16. So that's how I got the 20. So 4 plus 16 gave me 20. I put that under the square root bracket. All right. Then we had to break down to 20 because it breaks down. 20 is, the perfect square is 4. So I made it the square root of 4 times the square root of 5. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 5, can't do anything with it, so you leave it. So I get my answer, x equals 2 plus or minus 2 root 5 over 2. All right. Number 5. First thing we had to do is get to 0, so we had to move the 3x over the other side. Once I did that, the leading coefficient was negative, and they don't like leading coefficients to be negative, so I just multiplied everything by -1. If you didn't do that, that's fine. You'll still get the same answer. All right. So when I multiplied everything by -1, it gave me this: x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. A is 1, B is -3, and C is 1. Again, plugged it into my formula. So we had a -3, which gave me a +3, square root, and the bottom 2 times 1 is 2. All right, so then I did this under here. So -3 squared gave me a +9. 4 times 1 is 4. 9 minus 4 is 5. So the 5 goes under the square root bracket. And that's my answer because I can't do anything more with that. All right. Number 6. Again, I moved everything over. So I added the 5x, and then I subtracted the 7, gave me 2x squared plus 5x minus 7 equals 0. So now it's in standard form. Now I can pull off my A, B, and C. A is 2, B is 5, C is -7. So we get x equals a negative B, which is 5, plus or minus square root of B, which is 5, squared, minus 4 times A, which is 2, times C, which is -7, all over 2 times A, which is 2. So again, -5 brought it down. Plus or minus square root. 2 times 2 gave me 4. All right, so then we did the discriminant. 5 squared gave me 25. 4 times 2 times -7 gave me a -56, so I had minus -56, which became plus. So 25 plus 56 gave me 81. So that 81 goes under the radical. All right, we can do the square root of 81. Square root of 81 is 9, so I did that. Now I have -5 plus or minus 9 over 4. So since these are all whole numbers, we can do this and finish it off. So I did it once with the plus sign. So -5 plus 9 divided by 4, which gave me 4 divided by 4, gave me 1. Then I did it with the minus sign. So -5 minus 9 over 4. So -5 minus 9 gave me a -14 over 4. That reduced to a -7/2. Or if you want to write it as a -3.5, that's fine. All right. And then our last one, number 7. Again, it's already in standard form. So A was 1, B was 4, and C was 5. So again, plugged it into the formula. We have a -4, brought it down, plus or minus my discriminant. All right, so I just did the square root over 2 times 1, which is 2. All right, now we do the discriminant. 4 squared gave me 16. 4 times 1 times 5 gave me 20. 16 minus 20 is -4. All right, so I put that under here. Now we have a -4 under there. Don't forget about our i's. All right, so the square root of -4, I had to change to negative square root of 4 times the square root of -1. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of -1 is I. So the square root of -4 became 2i. So that's how I got my answer. X equals -4 plus or minus 2i over 2. All right. So that's how you did that checkpoint. All right. So now I'm going to do the homework with you. All right. Number 1 was easy. All you had to do was identify A, B, and C. It's already in standard form. All right, so all I have to do is say that A is 2, B is 1, and C is 4. So that's all you had to do. All right, it's already was in standard form. Now number 3 is not in standard form. All right, so we have to put it in standard form first. All right, so I'm going to subtract the x squared. Subtract the x squared. It gives me negative 4x squared minus 2 equals 3x. And then subtract 3x. Subtract the 3x. So I have negative 4x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals 0. And again, they don't like the leading coefficients to be negative. If you left it like that and you said that A is negative 4, B is negative 3, and C is negative 2, that's fine. You'll still get the same answer. All right, but I would multiply everything here by a negative 1 and get 4x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0. And I would say A is 4, B is 3, and C is 2. Because again, it's a lot easier to work with the positive numbers than it would be the negative numbers. All right. Then I had you skip these. So then I just had you go down, and I think I had you do 19. So I'll do 19 with you. All right. So 19, first thing we got to do, we're using the quadratic formula, so we pull it off. It's already in standard form. A is 1, B is negative 3, and C is 2. So again, just plug it in. We get x equals a negative b, which is negative 3, plus or minus square root of b, which is negative 3, squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 2, all over 2 times a, which is 1. All right, so again, what I do is x equals negative 3 gives me a positive 3, plus or minus square root, and then the bottom 2 times 1 is 2. Now I'm going to take care of what's underneath the radical here. So I have a negative 3 squared, which gives me positive 9, minus 4 times 1 is 4, times 2 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. So the discriminant, or what I was under the radical, is 1. All right, so now I can do this problem. I got x equals 3 plus or minus. The square root of 1 is 1 over 2. So again, I'm going to separate this since they're all whole numbers. So I'm going to do it once with the plus sign. X equals 3 plus 1 over 2. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then I do x equals 3 minus 1 over 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I get two answers, x equals 2 and x equals 1. All right, and then I will do number 22. I think that was the other one I had you do. I might have had you do one more, but I'll go over that real quick. So we got 3x squared plus x minus 4 equals 0. So again, A is 3, B is 1, and C is negative 4. All right, so on this, again, put it in the formula. We got a negative b, which is 1, plus or minus the square root of b, which is 1, squared, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 4, all over 2 times a, which is 3. So again, we pull it down, a negative 1, plus or minus square root, 2 times 3 gives me 6. So we do our discriminant off to the side. So 1 squared gives me 1, minus 4 times 3 is 12, times negative 4 gives me negative 48. 1 minus negative 48. All right, again, 1 minus negative 48 becomes plus positive, so I get 49. All right, so now we got 49. All right, we can do that now because we know the square root of 49. Square root of 49 is 7. All right, so we get this. Negative 1 plus or minus 7 over 6. So again, we have to finish this off. So we do, again, once with the plus sign. So negative 1 plus 7 over 6, which gives me 6 over 6, which is 1. Then I got to do negative 1 minus 7 over 6. and that gives me negative 8 over 6, which is negative 4/3. So we get 1, and we get negative 4/3. I think the only other one I had to do was 25. Number 25, the tricky thing about that one was that on that one, there is no C. All right, so you had to see that the C was 0. So for 25, you should have started out that A is 3, B was 2, and C was 0. So now when we put it into formula, x equals a negative b, so a negative 2, plus or minus square root of b squared, so 2 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 0, all over 2 times a, which is 3. So we get x equals a negative 2 plus or minus square root over 2 times 3, which is 6. Do our discriminant. 2 squared gives me 4. 4 times 3 is 12, times 0 is 0. So I have 4 minus 0, which is just 4. So that becomes a 4. All right, so now all I got to do is finish this off because we know the square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So I get negative 2 plus or minus 2 over 6. So again, we do it once with the plus sign. Negative 2 and positive 2 give me a 0. So we get 0 over 6, which is 0. So that is an answer. And then we get negative 2 minus 2 over 6, which gives us negative 4/6, which we have to reduce to negative 2/3. All right, so that was the only trick about that. All right, I'm going to be sending you something today. All we're doing is we're going to review everything we learned in Chapter 5.